Kari and Guðmundur Gunnlaugsson, the film's producers. Yeah. Geir Gunnlaugsson, Emeritus Professor of Local Health, a pediatrician. And last but not least, Dr. Elin Drivenes, child psychiatrist.
Welcome. Thank you.
Someone? No, Åse, I wanted to start by asking you, why this film? What drew you to the subject?
Well, the starting point of the film was that one of the doctors, well, the doctor that is here in the film, she's my twin sister. So, yeah, that gave me a unique access to the treatment room into the hospital. But I always thought it was an important, engaging story in the work that they do. That we have like a healthcare system that is so divided between somatics and psychiatry, and there's like such a sharp division between the body on one side and the thoughts and the feelings on the other side. But for these two doctors, that division doesn't exist. It's not either or, it's both, and at the same time. And it was just really powerful to witness these girls recovering after being examined and over and over again, and missing out on their youths and school. So yeah.
And this is a very intimate film. How were you able to maintain this intimacy in the doctor's room without, without the film or the camera disrupting the, doctor and patient relationship?
Yeah, so this is something I discussed with my cinematographer how to do. We were like on prime lenses on a tripod, and which gave us a lot of limitations because we couldn't move around too much. But that limitation was kind of a gift for the film because it was not an intrusive camera. It was more like a sympathetic camera. We wanted the camera to be more like a quiet observer in the room. But also what I witnessed in the room was so the focus was so intense in that room that I don't believe in the fly on the wall expression that you have in documentary, because I think that you're always aware of the camera. You can forget it maybe sometimes, but you will always be aware. But I think maybe we were as close as fly on the wall as you can get in that situation.
Kari and Guðmundur, when you're filming these vulnerable settings, what responsibility does a producer carry when you're portraying these moments, especially when the patients are young girls?
Oh, it's a huge responsibility. I think that we knew was a fire also had in himself to tell these stories. So, and we knew that her relation to her twin sister and also Hans-Petter was kind of the I guarantee that this was going to be kept in a warm and secure room. And what we did was that first of all we chose to trust also as a director. If we really wanted to tell this story, I think you wanted it for many years. You've heard her sister stories about these kids. And in the end, we screened the film when it was finished in editing, but we screened the film for the kids and their parents. It was very emotional. It was important for Åse and for us that these incredibly brave young women, that they could be portrayed as whole human beings that we could, in a way, relate to. That it wouldn't be like a special case that we could be like on a safari to watch. It was going to be people who had trouble in their lives that we all could recognize. That was important.
There was a lot of worry about this the whole time in the production. It was like, in the beginning, all the broadcast, it was like, oh, this is not gonna work. And we decided as producers that we just wait with those questions until afterward, and we will take care of it in the edit, and we will treat it with care. I think that's
Now, Elin, you are working with young patients who often feel like they have been rejected many times by the health system. How do you have to regain their trust again, and how do you work with people and provide them with unconventional treatments?
Yeah, we have to regain the trust for sure, and often it's important to have enough time and to dare to not be afraid to ask questions that they hadn't been asked before, and the questions that are not not to find out how much pain you have or how often they have pain, but more like what they think when they have pain, what the pain does to them. And often when you start asking these questions, and when you start like drawing their whole family on the board, I experienced that I quite fast gain their trust, because they feel that I see the whole picture of the whole family. And
Is there a risk of patients maybe feel rejected when you come up with unconventional treatments, like suggesting that there's something in their social life that may be causing their physical pain?
Yeah, but it depends on how you tell them this. If you tell them it in a way that they feel that you don't think that the pain is real, or the fatigue is something they create in their heads, or they will feel that way. But if you explain how the nervous system really works, they understand it. And the film doesn't show all the way up, because this is like it's not an educational film. So we do a lot of more things to make them understand how the nervous system really works. And when you explain it in that way, I experience that the patients understand what I mean without feeling rejected. But you have to be careful, but also brave in what questions you dare to ask. Like Margareta, that when her father hung up the phone, I wanted her to see that her father loved her. And so yeah.
Now, Geir, I'm curious to know, you worked closely with anthropologists in your work, in your research. Do you feel like there is a resistance within the medical community when it comes to looking beyond biomedicine for explanations?
It is a difficult question, but basically I would like to say and claim, as a pediatrician, you come across many different problems. And I have gradually, partly also because I work a lot with anthropologists, who is actually happens to be my wife, that there are issues that I, as a medical doctor, cannot treat. I don't have the direct answers. And one of the problems that many doctors have, that we are working in settings that really organize our time, for example, very tight, and there is not room within the system to give this sufficient attention, those what we would possibly call difficult patients. We don't have the answers. So, yes, I think that there are, and I know that there are, I've seen it in my work, that I don't have all the solutions. I have been working quite a lot with Guinea-Bissau, for example, in West Africa, and there people seek solutions to their problems through spiritual means. They look for solutions, and they try to find explanations that they can address and cure themselves. And that is in a very weak healthcare system. Guinea-Bissau is a poor country, but Norway is a rich country. And I must say, I was impressed by the services that you could provide in Tromsø, in the setting that you provided. I, as a medical doctor, was curious, when did these girls come from? How were they referred? Were they admitted? Lot of questions rose. So I must say, we as a medical profession, we need to be very much aware of this dimension. And also, as a health system or healthcare system, we need to find a way to organize it. So people get a referral line or whatever you would call it, and meet someone like Elin and has better. It's a fantastic thing. And I was curious, are there many more teams in Norway offering this type of service?
Maybe Elin, you wanna answer that question?
There is, but Norway is a long country, and we do it a bit different in the different parts of the country. What is special in Tromsø is that we are two doctors that works as both pediatricians and psychiatrists in the same person, and that is special. I don't think they have that every other place, but there is. We do work like this biopsychosocial way in many different hospitals in Norway. Yeah.
And you were, just one more question, you were, in the film, you were talking about the need to incorporate this sort of thinking or this methodology into the training of medical students, this biopsychosocial methods. Is that happening already, or is there something that you would love to see more of?
In Tromsø it's happening, because I have lectures and I have these seminars and I have students following on me when I'm working like that. So we're teaching the younger. And I think it's very, very important, because in children, we see that a lot of children gets these kind of symptoms. So it's, if you want to work as a doctor, you need to be able to think this way. Yeah.
Now, Åse, I'm curious. This film, it addresses a lot of big issues in our society. the demands on young people, the importance of communication, and the role of medicine. How was it to incorporate all of this into one 90-minute film? Was it difficult?
Yeah, I think, well, Elin said it, it's not like an educational film. So I need to, I want to tell an engaging story, compelling, engaging story. I think that was the biggest challenge I had, was how to treat this kind of complex reality, how to simplify, in a way, this complex reality without betraying the core idea of the doctors. That is, the symptoms is not just caught because of one thing, but it's a complex. It's complex. So the film had to hold on to that complexity, but at the same time create an engaging, clear story for the audience. So that was a bit challenging. I also was worried that it would be a very talk-heavy film, which it is. And I was complaining to my editor. I was like, "Oh, this is my biggest fear. I don't like it. It was a bit boring, maybe." And but he was like, "No, let's lean into the conversation and let it really grow." And I'm glad we did, because the conversation and the talk in the film is not just talk, but it's grounded in a medical method, in a carefully medical method, which was important to keep that. So yeah, it's a talk-heavy film, but hopefully interesting in a way.
And what message were you trying to come out to society?
I think maybe as I mentioned a little bit in the introduction, but what I thought so powerful in that treatment room was the way they build the bridge between the body and the, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit philosophical, it's a bit the body and the soul, or the body and the, they don't just care about the physical thing, but they see connections that no other doctors have seen, and they ask questions that haven't been asked before, and then we see how these teenagers recover in front of our eyes. And so I wanted it to be a hopeful film, because it's a lot of these teenagers have lost so many years of their teenage life, and I thought that hope was important to convey.
And do you stay in touch with the girls?
Yes, I do. We brought them all to the film is also, it's been made a series from the film, and we brought them to buy at a award show, and they were all dressed up, and so that was really, really nice. The girls are doing well. I got a picture from Thea. She's at a work placement through school now. So and Greta, she's so busy. She's finished her A-levels, and she's working, and she's super busy. So they're all doing well. So yeah.
Do you feel like the success of the film is giving them more strength to, tackle these symptoms and their pain?
Hopefully, I hope so. I think most important is that they have this new understanding that they can bring. The more bigger understanding of their situation, but I think that they got a big boost. The series was seen by many in Norway, so they got a lot of messages, emails, and I think that was a big boost for them. Yeah.
Kari and Guðmundur, what kind of impact did you hope this film would have?
Well, I think, I was very curious to see what would happen, because I think it's a really special thing, like this camera inside this room with doctors and patients. It's like a very intimate thing that's very fragile, and it's built on trust to bring a camera in there. So you never know what's going to happen. But I think with this like special connection between the protagonist and the director, you get into another dimension that you're not used to being in with the camera. And I was just really curious how that would work out. I liked it.
Yeah, I think it was kind of funny because we did co-produce the film with TV2 in Norway, and they needed also a series, because one-off, it's hard today for the TV channels, so they're going to screen the one-off, our film that you saw right now, but also we also made a series. We said, also you have to make a series as well. She was like, okay. And I think in TV2, they are very, the people who are working in documentary TV2 Norway, they are very dedicated people, but they have a smaller version. It's not the sports, it's the documentary division. And they all were very enthusiastic about the project, but I think they had kind of low expectations for viewers because it's documentary. But then everyone has been so happy because the series it's been like a huge success in Norway. It's been, is it 700 or 800,000? Like 800,000 people who watched the series. And so also really, you just touched something in people, it was a real dialogue starter. And it was not, I think, also a broad audience. We got feedback that parents watched it together with their teenagers, and it's been an incredible feedback. So I think in itself, it's already had a lot of impact. And I hope also maybe we can use it also to ask questions on how you finance the healthcare system. Because in Norway, you have the system where you have money for each diagnosis. It's like checking out every patient, and you really wanted to change how you think about that it's actually a good way to invest money in spending time. As also you usually say that these kids would be out or work maybe, and it's actually good economy to invest in these hours. And like people giving feedback, they say like, oh, I really wish I knew how I had it in my life. And I think that's the best feedback you can get as a filmmaker, right?
Yeah.
Elin, how many calls have we got so far for this?
No. How many calls? No, I don't know. I've got hundreds of SMS and mails and calls and a lot of strangers that have children that have been lying home for a year or 2 or 3, and then they saw the film, and then they started to talk, and then they went back to school even without going to another doctor. so they treat themselves. Yeah.
Do you feel like people are more hopeful when they're commenting, patients after seeing the film and seeing how this treatment has worked for the girls?
Yeah, I really feel that after the film that having symptoms that are caused by stress like this, girls have been and I haven't said it in English. Fått högre status, the higher prestige. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, it's easier to get knowledge. Yeah.
And Geir, I'm curious to know, do you think that there's something that the Icelandic health system can learn from this film?
I think it's a very good question. I am sure that there are out there teenagers struggle with similar problems. Not just same problems, similar problems that are difficult to solve. And I really would encourage them or try to seek help, not to stop, because it is, we know in all cultures we have this type of problem. And we don't have clear answers in the medical profession all the time. Iceland is one of the roots Icelandic people has done many times along decades and let's say centuries. They seek media, they seek doctors in the other world, they seek all types of alternative medical solutions to their problems, and I was also wondering about these young girls, if they were seeking help through herbal medicine, if they were seeking religious media to help them through their problems, or because this is something that I know is quite frequent and often we see that quite often in Iceland and Norway. In northern Norway, you have some culture in Norway. We have our Icelandic nature here. So I think, yes, there are unsure young people out there, and we can ask ourselves why you raise that question. I mean, is it social media that's a common culprit, or is it something else? And so I think we share some of these issues bosom. And I hope and I think we are trying, but we are not doing well enough. And that is a common denominator. We can say that across all healthcare systems across the globe, mental health issues are not broken into.
But do you think medical professionals are trained enough to consider, the context of family, school, and society when treating patients?
Yes, I think at least I can talk for myself. I do my pediatric training in Stockholm, in Sweden, Karolinska Institute. I mean, it was multidisciplinary teams. We were trying to do all types of different things. One of the issue is what I said before. I mean, it is time, it needs staff. It needs place. It needs it's a lot of things that need to be put in place. And I was impressed by what I saw in Tromsø, that you had this opportunity, that you gave this time, and how you talk to them, and it was very nice, and it was a beautiful thing. And the contrast with the helicopter, this is a fantastic contrast. Compared, because we are really prepared. In Norway, they have helicopters all over the place to bring in sick people. But how can we do with the mental health? So I found that most up. I understood it a little bit like, I mean, the system is attending the physical, but we should also give attention to the psychological. And we need to do that also in Leicester.
Elin, there was one scene in this movie where you are going through your patient's records and you're reading through her and you see, this one thing and you say, well, the answer's right there. Why aren't they listening to, why didn't they notice? This must be the explanation.
I don't know how it is in this country, but in Norway you get, the hospital gets paid for each diagnosis you put on your patient. So diagnosing patients is important to earn the money the hospital needs. And then you have short time. I don't think that doctors doesn't want to hear all this, but I think they don't see, or often they don't see that it is important. And they don't have time for it, so they don't yeah.
So there's a lack of time. That's
I think so.
the problem.
Yeah, and I think also there's some doctors, they think this is for the doctors that work with the mental health, and this and I'm not a doctor that work with the mental health. Therefore, those questions are not for me. But if you think like that, you will have problem getting your patients well, I think.
Do we need to rethink the health system in order for doctors to be able to give their patients more time and for them to maybe, allow themselves to look beyond biomedicine or treating patients?
Yes, so.
Now, I'm curious to know, because we were talking a lot about symptoms and illness and pain. What strength do you see in your patients?
A lot. I love working with children. In this film, we see teenagers that I work with children from like babies and they're 18. So, and I don't just work with this. I work with all other diagnoses as well and things. So I see. I love children. Naturally show a lot of strength just in their fantasy, their way to speak, a way to be open to new ideas. So it's maybe it's tougher to work like this with grown-ups than with adolescents and children. Mm-hmm.
And if you could make any change to the health system and it would come into effect tomorrow, what could that be?
More time.
More time. And what about you, Geir?
I agree with Geir.
Now, these are difficult problems. There are no easy solutions, but we need stuff, we need time, we need funds, and we need understanding. And probably better communication across different disciplines with the medical profession, understand it, because it is difficult. But I think, and I know, and you see it in the film, we have good healthcare system that we need to struggle and we need to fight for improvement together in this. And this is a big challenge, and if I have the solution exactly what to do, then I would not be here. Would be competent. Yeah. So it is I think awareness of the problem, understanding. I mean, young people today, and Iceland, for example, we are worried about increasing prevalence, that is the occurrence of anxiety among young people, teenagers. And this is increasingly in the media, but we don't seem to find a solution. Probably there is no one solution, but we need to give this attention in the schools. And I must say, like the anorexia nervosa we had there, I mean, you need to come in early. This was only after 9 weeks, and then she was in some type of help. And this is a horrible situation for young people. So what I could say and recommend, early intervention, come in early and try to solve it before it becomes too complicated. Because that would be more difficult for the family, for the young people, and also for the healthcare system.
But do you feel like the society's attitudes towards the looking beyond biomedicine has shifted in the last years, or has this been stable?
I don't want to claim that we, or let's say I'm a medical professor, this is not what we are trained to do. But we have certainly within our profession, and you probably know, some of you who are in the local, here in the Geneva, that there are people within the medical profession and also other people who are not maybe doctors, but they are nurses and healthcare professionals, and they seek themselves support in their treatment for difficult cases, but they don't dare really to talk a lot about it because it is a little bit. Is this really medicine or whatever? So I think there is great interest in Iceland in alternative methods. People sometimes, I must admit, people are afraid with the medical system, that the medical system will crush them, and that probably might be the case. I don't know, but it's not the intention. But nevertheless, it is a challenge. I mean, healthcare system is a crucial component in our society, and we really need to be open-minded for different solutions to different problems.
No, Åse. If there's one thing you would want people to take away from this screening or this film, what would that be?
That there is hope. But yeah, I think young people today are so capable and they're so strong-minded and so aware. And I think also what I find so special to be part of these processes with the doctors is that the answers are sometimes within yourself, and they don't meet doctors that comes with all the answers. That the answer is within yourself, and you need to just get help to find it. Yeah, but I think that's really important to bring. I think Sophia says it very well in the film that when she's asked what have you learned about yourself, and she says that things get better, and Julia also says that it doesn't get better unless I practice, So I think hope on this.
Well, thank you, and thank you for sharing your perspectives. Now, I would love to hear from the audience. Now, some of you may have questions or reflections of your own. So, if you have some questions, please raise your hand. Okay, I see at least 3 hands. So maybe
I can take the mic.
Yeah. So. Maybe I'll start with you in the back. She's running over to you with the microphone.
This film was very powerful, thank you. I wondered if there were other subjects that you filmed. It seems like everybody in the film did incredibly well thanks to the care that you provided. Were there other people that you've photographed or filmed that you decided not to include because it didn't have a positive income or outcome? And the other thing I wanted to say is I love that moment where the girl starts asking if the doctor has a dad joke, because the film is so intense and it sort of let the audience breathe for a second. Did you prompt her to do that, or did this completely on her own? Because it was very surprising, especially coming from her, because she was breaking the ice and sort of humanizing their relationship.
I think it's...
No, that was not scripted. I think the ice was broken when she was believed. She asked, "Do you think I'm faking it?" and said, "No, we don't." And then after that, everything changed. And I thought that was such a nice kind of relationship story between Hans Petter especially and her, because he gets a bit annoyed with her, and he's like, oh, she's triggering something in me. And then it all changes when she's like, so it's such a nice little story there. But we did include more patients because we had to film more patients than we included in the film, because we wanted to give them the opportunity to back out because they were so vulnerable. So they had the opportunity to So there were some patients for different reasons that we didn't include. But it was, the reason was not that they didn't get better. No. That's important. But when I say that, I don't mean that every patient we meet gets better. Some of them have troubles in their lives that is not able. The parents can't solve it for them. So then they often don't get better, or they get another symptom. So some of my patients don't get better, of course. But in this film, the patient we filmed, they all got better, I think. Yeah. So that, yeah.
And I think we have a few more questions, maybe up over there.
Yeah, I have a question about your, I guess, like development of the story, and if you had originally planned to like develop the professional relationship and the retirement storyline when you had started the film, or if that kind of came up throughout, and if like the original focus was just going to be on the patients.
Yeah, so I knew that Hans Petter was retiring, and I thought that's a nice storyline to have. That's Elin's kind of not taking over, because you have been working for some time, but I thought that was a nice storyline to include as a yeah. Maybe I can say some. I don't know if it answers your question, but about the perspective of the film, I was very adamant that I wanted the doctors to be the storytellers, or the perspective was from the doctor's point of view, and that was mainly because I thought that if we were to go home with the patients, I mean, of course, some people would challenge me on that. They said that the drama and the emotions are with the girls. Why don't you go home with them? Then we would miss out on this behind the scenes conversations with doctors that I thought was really important for the story. So I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah.
As I can argue this, I think also that you made that decision helps the film to tell like a greater story, that it's about something that could happen to all of us, our children, and about methods and how to be a human being. Because if you went for the teenagers, it could be a lot for them to carry on their shoulders, because now they are more girls to share the burden, and they are representatives for something bigger than just their own individual stories, which I think is a very strong thing about your film.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I don't know if we have time for one more question or just one. Okay, I thank you. Rose, gentleman over there. Both of them have questions, so.
Hi. During COVID, I had a lot of time because of lockdown, and I found online somehow an excellent Norwegian drama called Scum. And the one thing I got from it is teenagers in Norway, they can get by themselves. There are no grown-ups in Asgard. So, but in this film, there's always a father or a mother in this room. Why? Maybe there's some things that a teenager is embarrassed to speak in front of the parents. Is it a little thing, or why?
Because Scum is fiction. Uses that.
And it's Oslo, it is.
I don't know how it is in Iceland, but in Norway,
I'm not from Iceland.
yep. You're from,
I'm from Tel Aviv.
yep, from but in Norway, usually teenagers, when they come to hospital, they bring either both or one of their parents. That's normal. But often when we talk to our patients, we often speak with them also without their parents. Yeah,
So I don't know why you in this film you didn't have any clip where we spoke with them without their parents.
We talked on the phone.
We talked on the phone, and maybe that was because you just had one camera and one cameraman. We did camera woman. Sorry, but Nia knows better. We think that the parents are important in the girls' lives, and it's important that the questions that we ask and the answers we get are heard and answered by both the girls and their parents. I think it's important to have the parents there.
One more. I can see it turning green too. So, no, yeah. Okay, when one's up, best. One's other question. Okay.
I just wanted to ask, what were some of the challenges around shooting within a hospital, and how many of you had a crew that was big enough to get the kind of push that you wanted, but still streamlining them that you would not kind of interfere with the intimacy?
Smaller.
Okay, so so it was just me. I was doing the sound, and I'm a cinematographer, and I don't know. It was we were just given the trust. Nobody really were bothered by us. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a small hospital either, but we had a good communication with the hospital leader and the communication departments, and we would send out emails beforehand and say we would be there, we would be at this part of the hospital filming, and they trusted us. And then
I think, unfortunately, that's about it. We don't have any more time, but I just wanted to thank you so much for coming here tonight and sharing your perspective, and to the audience, thank you so much for making your way here to Háskólabíó and being a part of this conversation.
If that, yeah, well, yeah. Might do arrange this.
yeah.